Hi, my name is Emily Neville, and I like to share some of my favorite devotions with you. This is one of my favorite. I've read this book 3 years now in a row, every day. It's by Paul David Tripp, and it's called New Morning Mercies. The idea is that prayer is abandoning my righteousness, admitting my need for forgiveness, and resting in the grace of the cross of Jesus. Luke 18, verses 9 through 14 say, He also told this parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and treated others with contempt. 2 men went up into the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee, standing by himself, prayed this way, God, I thank you that I am not like other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even like that tax collector. I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all that I get. But the tax collector, standing far off, would not even lift up his eyes to heaven, but beat his breast, saying, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. I tell you, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. It is a shocking prayer that the Pharisee speaks in Christ's confrontational parable. It isn't shocking just because he compares himself to sinners worse than himself. We're all tempted to do the same to ease our consciences by pointing to someone whom we assess to be more unrighteous than we are. It isn't shocking just because he lists his good works in his prayer. We all make ourselves feel better about our spiritual state by cataloging the good things we have done. It's shocking because he is saying these things to God, who knows us all even in the deepest recesses of our hearts. He feels quite comfortable in God's presence because he's deeply convinced that, as a righteous man, he deserves to be there. What's shocking about this prayer is that it's not a prayer at all. There's nothing prayer-like about what this man is doing. What he says is not prayer-like in posture, attitude, or content. In shocking self-confidence, he essentially looks God in the face and says, I don't need you. I don't need your compassion. I don't need your forgiveness. I don't need your strengthening. I don't need your wisdom. I don't need your help. I'm doing quite fine all by myself. If you pray a prayer in which you essentially tell God that you don't need him, it may be a pseudo-religious pronouncement, but it's not a prayer. Real prayer is prayed in an attitude of what the Puritans called importunity, which is the condition of being troublesome or persistent because of a deep sense of urgency. It means being frightened into crying out for help. It's a condition of heart that there is only as a result of grace. It's grace that causes you to acknowledge your sin. It's grace that causes you to be frightened by where that sin can lead you. It's grace that opens your heart to the help that only God can give. Real prayer is motivated by that grace and acknowledges your need for that grace. Prayer isn't an announcement of personal righteousness, but a cry for help that rests in the righteousness of another. Have you prayed today? If you need prayer, there are people here who are more than willing to hear your prayers and pray with you. And we have a group called the Power Prayers who meet on Wednesday afternoons at 3 o'clock in the library. We'd love to have you come join us and pray for our church and our members in the congregation. Thank you, and have a blessed day.